Hey guys, welcome back to another YouTube video here on my YouTube channel. And in this video, we're going to be talking about productivity and, the things that I've learned about productivity in the past month, because I actually took a 4-week break off YouTube. And, this is something I've done in the past, and it's something that I struggled with in general is, being a consistent YouTuber and being someone who, is able to upload very, very consistently and, with quality as well. So this definitely has some relation to productivity, and hopefully the things that I outlined in this video will be of some help to you guys. So stick around, tell me what you guys think in the comments, and let's get started. So the first thing that I really figured out about productivity, especially during this break, is that I just genuinely don't know how to take a break properly, right? And so what can I do to fix that? Because obviously it's something that people should be able to do. Burnout is a very real thing. You should be able to take a break when needed, but I'm doing it in the wrong way, right? Which is the fact that when I do take a break, I end up feeling very guilty about it. And honestly, that's not a good way to take a break. If you take a break and you feel guilty about taking a break, I should be uploading videos, I should be doing this. So that's the thing that I've learned, right? Is when you do take a break, guilt is the enemy of taking a break properly. So if you get into the cycle where maybe you're uploading too much, or in this case of Fortnite competitive, maybe you're training too hard, maybe you're playing 10 hours a day and it feels like you're not very productive, or maybe I should take a step back, maybe I should take a break, maybe I can get back into the cycle once I feel a little bit better. So so it gets to a point where you enter the cycle, you need a break, right? And then because you feel guilty about the fact that you're taking a break and maybe you should be training harder, you get mentally exhausted, right? And so this becomes an endless loop where you constantly need a break again or extend your break further because of the fact that you're not actually getting adequate rest from the fact that you're guilt tripping yourself for your break, right? So and this, I don't know if this is something that a lot of people experience. This is just my own experience, but every time I take a break, this is essentially how I take a break. A good example is when you're perhaps doing homework, or you should be studying for a test tomorrow, and instead you're, let's say, like watching Netflix, right? So there's that meme where people talk about watching Netflix stressfully and they should be studying, but they're not really watching Netflix in a relaxing sort of way or a peaceful sort of way. So it doesn't actually act as a break or a rejuvenating act. It just mentally exhausts them further and stresses them out further, right? So if you're gonna take a break from Fortnite and you feel like you need that sort of break to recover and maybe be more productive in the future, then definitely understand that the way you take a break is more important than actually how long it is, right? Because theoretically a month break should be enough for someone to get back on their feet and start uploading more. But in my case, probably every single day I'm just feeling guilty about the fact that I'm not uploading, and this is not a very effective way to take a break, and this is something that I've realized. So if I do take a break, I need to full commit to it, and I need to actually it wouldn't take a month, in my opinion, to feel fully back to where I need to be to upload again, if I just wasn't feeling guilty about it. If I just properly went in with the right mindset and been like, okay, fuck it, like I'm just gonna take a break, right? And that's the sort of mentality that you should have, in my personal opinion. And now the second thing that I really want to outline, and this is, in my opinion, the most important realization of all, is the fact that media and people online and public and all these people like to push the idea that you should be relaxing, and toxic work culture is a real thing, and while I can agree with some of their arguments, I don't agree with all of it, right? So a lot of people seem to believe that you can't work forever, or you can't do the crazy productive things for a long period of time. And I know it sounds like crazy, like, oh, I keep burning out, but I make this viewpoint, but it is something that I do disagree with. There are examples of people who are able to work hard for a long period of time, and I really feel like it has a lot to do with the fact that they just understand that their future self is going to suffer relative to the goals that they have set for themselves, because of the fact that they're taking a break now or not being productive now. So essentially, being productive or working hard right now for a long-term goal is a good way to set up your future self to feel happy, right? And I feel like that's a very valid point to motivate yourself to be productive now, is to really put into perspective what your future self is going to be like if you succeed, or if you get this done, or if you practice, or if you study, right? How much happier is your future self going to be if you get this done? A lot of humans, or animals in general, struggle with doing stuff that is sort of delayed. In other words, delayed gratification, right? We tend to do things evolutionarily for our own survival, and so that usually just means the now, right? Like, I need to find my next meal, I need to be able to survive, I should be able to do things for now. And as humans, we struggle with trying to sort of perceive things in the future. The longer something, or the more delayed the reward is, I feel like a lot of people struggle with being able to do it. So I want you guys to watch this clip, and I find that this clip will help you guys understand what I mean.
Sometimes productivity can be self-care. What's going on with that?
So I think that's one of the main triggers for the book, was actually the fact that like people would be like, oh, self-care, relax. And I'd be like, actually, sometimes self-care is meeting that deadline that you're currently not on track to meet, but actually respecting your future self and your goals. We cannot market self-care as always like doing nothing. Sometimes self-care is working harder because you're currently not working in line with what you want to make happen. And I think that, again, the internet hates that because it doesn't fit into this idea of like well-being versus productivity.
Ultimately, we set goals, and in order to actually achieve those goals, and especially if we actually really want them, then we need to be able to do the things, period, right? We can't relax, we can't sort of sit back and chill, and like I can't pretend that taking month breaks every other month or every like 3 times a year or whatever is a good productive way or a healthy relationship with my YouTube channel in order to reach my goals, right? Like, I want to be a successful YouTuber. I want to be able to do something that's pretty impressive and be able to build a career for myself. So understand that, like, at the same time, we can't be taking breaks this long. There are certain things that we need to be doing, right? We can't just pretend like you want to be top 3 players in NA and you want to be a really, really good Fortnite player and then relax like every other month, right? Think about how much effort that the tier 1 pros are putting in to maintain their position at the top, and for you to pretend that you can half-ass it or take breaks every every week or every month or every 2 months or whatever, it is a good productive way to hit your goal. And I just don't believe in that. I don't think that's a good way to think about it, right? I really believe the reason I feel like I need a ton of breaks is the guilt, right? Understand that you can be you can train for 4 hours a day. Maybe you shouldn't feel guilty about it. Maybe you should be like, okay, that's fine, I'll just train 6 tomorrow, or I'll train 4 again tomorrow, and then 6 the next day, or 8 the next day. Like, it's like the biggest thing, honestly, is the enemy of productivity is guilt. It's perfection. It's the fact that, hey, I could have been better. Like, remove that mentality from your head, because I feel like that's the enemy of productivity. That's what accelerates burnout for most people, is the fact that they feel guilty about something, right? It's okay if you messed up that day, you can do better next day, right? So it's really important. Like, it's a hard balance to meet, because I feel like a lot of people would be like, oh, guilt's bad, and then just set no expectations for themselves. I think that's wrong too, but we also can't have this crazy expectation of ourselves where we can we're perfect. Like, we don't miss a day, we practice, or I upload. Like, mistakes can happen, and the biggest thing is, like, the past is the past. We're just gonna figure out how to move forward from here, right? And I think that's the most important thing. Stop feeling guilty, stop beating yourself up, but at the same time, don't pretend like practicing 2 hours a day and taking breaks every now and then is just a good productive way to hit your goals. Especially if you have a goal in a competitive environment like Fortnite competitive, to be the best, you're gonna have to make some sacrifices, and that's just the reality of it, right? I really feel like your happiest self will be when you hit that goal, and in order to do service to your future self, you're gonna have to do the things required to hit that goal, and sometimes that means working long, hard hours, right? And that's just the reality of it. I don't want people to be delusional and think that just doing the bare minimum is okay and you're gonna eventually hit your goal. That's not how competitive works. That's like the people at the top who are trying their hardest to maintain their position, they're working harder than you, they're getting better faster than you, and it's just not going to be a good sight for you if you're not making a ton of progress and you feel like doing the same thing over and over is gonna be enough, right? So definitely have the pressure, but don't feel guilty. Like, if you mess up on one day and you don't hit the targeted hours or the productivity that you wanted to have, don't beat yourself up over it. It's the #1 way to actually need a break. I don't think that's a good way to do it. So just make sure that you're constantly finding out ways to improve without feeling guilty, and I think that's the secret, right? Like, guys, willpower is nothing more than doing the things that you need to do even though you feel like you don't want to do them, right? Because the feeling of not wanting to do them is just the short term, right? You've set goals for yourself, and most of you guys have set goals related to Fortnite competitive. You guys feel like you want to hit a certain threshold, maybe top 10 in NA, top 100 in NA, become a pro, have your first earnings, right? Having your first earnings is a perfect goal to have, right? And it's something that a lot of you guys desperately want. You guys do want it. right? And so why does it make sense that you want earnings but you don't want to practice right now, right? That's the misalignment. So like, do the things needed very accurately, right, to hit your goals. I really agree with the message of the fact that this video says self-care is doing the things needed for your future self. That's a really good way. Like, when I watched this video, I was like, that's a good perspective. That's a really nice way to think about it, right? Because at the end of the day, delayed gratification is a good way for long-term big goals, because ultimately you're going to need more than one day of practice or training or hard work to hit the goals. Usually you need hundreds and hundreds of days to get to your goal, especially if it's an aspirational one. And in order to make yourself happy and like actually hit the goal, you're going to need to do the things required, even if you don't feel like doing them. And that's just a reality that a lot of people don't like to face, right? A lot of people like to lie to themselves and feel like they can just get away with doing certain mediocre things on a day for an extended period of time, and that's just not going to work, right? Long term, that's not going to work. One day here and there, and you know, not being productive on those days, sure, but at the end of the day, you know, just finding the work-life balance, or finding a way to relax every week and play other games and do those things is just not a sustainable way for you to be happy. Like, if you genuinely wrote down a goal or have a goal about Fortnite competitive, and you want to hit your first earnings, and you want to be a top 10 player in NA or EU or wherever you live, it is extremely important that you be honest with yourself with the things that are necessary to hit that goal, right? Like, actually think about, like, let's say you want to be top 10 in NA, very aspirational goal, very crazy goal. Think about what the top 10 in NA are actually currently doing, right? How hard are they practicing? And be honest, like, what do you actually think they're doing, right? And in terms of that sort of work, right, like, do you feel like you would be willing to do that amount of work to hit your goal? If the answer is yes, then you should be very logical day in, day out, and actually do that effort, because otherwise you're going to be very sad with yourself. You're like, I don't think many people who genuinely want that goal will be very happy when they don't hit it, right? You need to be able to do everything in your power to actually hit that goal, right? The biggest thing that you should be able to do is do that without feeling a ton of guilt. Obviously, guilt can be a very good motivator, but I feel like it's not a good motivator in the sense of taking a break. Like, if you actually want to take a break, don't feel guilty. I find that that's the worst thing. Like, I should be productive right now, I should be uploading right now, I should be training right now, I should be on the game right now, what am I doing? Like, that's just not, like, I've been there. I've dealt with that in many different arenas, in Fortnite competitive, with YouTube, with school, and trust me, I don't feel like it's a good place to be, and it definitely doesn't get you up back on your feet ready to practice or work or do anything of that nature. So definitely make sure you understand that message. Do the things necessary to hit your goals, especially if you actually want those goals. Like, if you are honest with yourself and those are the goals that you genuinely want very badly, then do the things necessary. Otherwise, you're going to be a very sad individual when you don't hit your goals later on, a couple years down the road. So hopefully you guys take the message. Hopefully you guys learn the things that I've learned, especially on this break. And I find that, you know, if I actually follow through with this, and especially if I become a more disciplined individual, I think you'll see a lot more consistent uploads from me now on. So obviously there may be a break down the road, and I find that, you know, working hard is very much like training a muscle. So like, if you go to the gym and do bicep curls, maybe the first time you can do 10-pound, maybe 4 reps or whatever, but then you fail, right? Like, you can't do another one, right? And so you take a break. That's what rest days are for. That's what you do, like, at the gym. Like, you work out the muscle, you chill for a bit, let it recover, and then you go again. And when you go again, you can go 5 reps next time, you can go 6 reps next time, right? And so taking a break is not necessarily a bad thing. It's something that sometimes is very necessary, but I feel like it's something that develops. It's a skill, work ethic, right? It's a skill, and it's something that you can develop and get better at, right? Would you look at that, right? It's something that you can genuinely get to a point where you will not need a break as much anymore, and be able to just work like a machine, right? And I know a lot of people like you guys want that, and this idea of you know, relaxation and work-life balance is it's cool, but I find that that's an idea for a lot of people that have, you know, they don't want as much, right? They don't have aspirational goals, they don't have things that are crazy that they want, right? And that's okay, and that's fine, to each their own, right? But if you do have an aspirational goal, having the idea of work-life balance is just not, in my opinion, a good way to think about it, right? Like, yes, I'm gonna feel relaxed, and yes, I'm gonna take breaks and stuff, but then what's the point if you don't hit the goal, right? What is the point, right? So you should feel that pressure. It's very important, that pressure, to push forward for your goal, but ultimately at the end of the day, it's important that you actually do the things necessary for your goal. That's the thing that I've realized about productivity, is that if I actually want to become a successful coach, a successful YouTuber, a successful individual in the community of Fortnite, then it's very important that I put in the work, and actually show up every day for you guys. And hopefully you guys will continue to watch my YouTube videos. And I know I have a very loyal community, I understand that, and I thank you guys for sticking by me even though I take these breaks. And I'm very happy that I have you guys, right? Like, it's very rare for someone to take a break for a month and continuously take breaks and still have the views that I have. It's kind of ridiculous, actually. Some days I don't realize actually why you guys watch my videos to the extent that you guys do, but I thank you guys for it. Like, it really does help seeing the progression that I have on YouTube, and it is a very good motivator to be able to see the views go up. Not every YouTuber has that privilege, right? So thank you guys so much for watching my videos. You guys will see a lot more of me in the near future, and hopefully we can continue this for as long as possible. Thank you guys. See you in the next one.